And welcome back all to Red Blur Gaming. Today we are getting our Tower Commander started. Let me just readjust that camera there slightly. There we go. So we've got the legs here together ready to be cleaned up. Have taken them off sprue, so just to make it a little sharper. Goal is to get the legs done in one video and then work on the upper body or torso in the next, before hopefully in the final part of the video being able to connect the sections together and have him ready to be primed, which is the goal for at least tomorrow. I want to have, as I've got a nice, what looks like it's going to be a clear day in the morning, to prime some miniatures, meaning that I can get some of the things that aren't primed that are on my hobby desk right now primed. That being said, once again, don't forget, like, subscribe, comment, hit that bell notification so you are not missing out on when I post videos. If you enjoy the content, let me know. Got any questions or any video suggestions? Leave a comment and tell me what you think, what your suggestions are, any questions you have around anything I am doing / posting. And let's kick on with this morning's video. As you can see to the side there is some Kroot. I just posted a short showing them off. I have approximately close to 40 Kroot that were painted by some friends of mine, one being the local legend and manager of the local friendly game store, also known as Guff. He took 120 or 140 Kroot to an event last year known as Terracon, playing with a Kroot only detachment as the new codex had dropped for Tau, and at that point in time there had been no nerfs to the Kroot, but that quickly changed because it was found out how devastating they could actually be with their new rules and detachment, which kind of is typical of Games Workshop, that once you get something good after being terrible for so long, and they make it at least fairly powered to make your army competitive, they then destroy it as quickly as possible so your army is no longer competitive, because they love to always be in control. Now let's look at getting some glue on this leg here. I'll get a few sections quickly glued together and hope that, seeing as I'm putting them in the right spot by the looks of it, which I have, marvellous, we can then look at that. There's even a little button for it to go into. A little guide. I love when they do that. Well done, Warhammer. There's a little hole there, and this section pokes straight in it. Which then allows for us to drop a touch of glue in the end there, and boom, one leg completed. Obviously we have lower torso completed so we can attach. Let's clean up the second leg, and then this might be one of the shortest videos I've done for a while. Quite happy with how quickly that went together. I was concerned that the Tower Commanders might be a little bit fiddly, given that I haven't built one since they've released them, which they've been out for a little while. but I've been playing Space Marines and Dark Angels that entire time. As I said, I originally got into Tau when they first came out. When I first got into Warhammer, I was the ripe old age of, I think it was 15 or 16, and didn't have many friends who were into it. Struggled with it to begin with, looking at like how things were painted. The fact that I lived with my parents in a bit of a no man's land in terms of how easy it was to get to friends' houses who also played this game in order to be able to play or join in with them and you know, get into the hobby. So I dropped off pretty quickly off the hobby, and that was that. It wasn't until I was in my mid 20s that I changed career paths and began working at what I do now, well, which I'm about to leave that industry, and that allowed me to meet a lot of people who actually were also into the same thing, playing Warhammer 40k. So then I quickly started to buy a few more bits and pieces. I bought a few more bits and pieces of Tau, got into it again, and then kind of fell off the face again with it. Left a role I was in, had a few rough years, where I was extremely sick and couldn't get into, being able to A, afford it, or B, play it, and I stopped really being involved in it. And then a boss of mine rang me and asked me to go and work for them at a particular job site, where I met a couple of really cool guys who, one I'd known for a long time, and another one who I've hadn't worked with before, but now we regularly keep in touch, and they got me back into Warhammer, and obviously as quickly as I got into Warhammer, I ended up with Space Marines, and that was what happened. I ended up really enjoying playing Space Marines and having a lot of fun. And I've gone and put these lower legs in backwards. Well done me. Of course I have. Of course I did that. How did I not notice that when I put them down, I 100% mixed them up? One and only me, always mixing up model parts. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm good at. But let's start to lock in. There is. Starting to lock these bits in, get it set up and organised so that, whoop, of course that's what happens. One decides it doesn't want to, you think you get one side glued in, and it changes its mind, and then the other side does not want to go where you want it to. So I think this is going to be a glue one section at a time type of event, but look, that may take a couple of minutes to set, but it will provide us with our first look at the commander, who, right, has some stuff to stand on. So his foot is interesting. There is some broken rubble on the ground for this. There it is. All right. Anyway, we shall move on to the next section, which again, I've made a mistake in how it glues in. I don't know how I keep doing this, but it is what it is. We all make mistakes. So we're going to shift over to the upper body of our Tower Commander, while a couple of those bits hopefully glue themselves together and stay where they need to be. And I will find the required sections that I need to start putting this bad guy together. But it also means that I'm going to need the light, so we'll do this in front of the camera. Yeah, hopefully knocking the camera over, which I was having a little trouble with earlier. Accidentally taking the camera out with the sprue. But we're going to quickly, as long as I can see what I'm doing, snip off a few of these sections so that we have everything we require. Lovely. And then one more section, number 2. And then we can work on at least the top half of the torso once I take all these bits off. And what I'm going to do is crack the sprue in half. So it may make life even easier again. So that, looking at the next part, we have got ourselves the upper body torso of the Tower Commander. Just going to clean him up and make sure that all the sections were taken off neatly. Didn't quite get all of that off too well, or very close, so I've got a bit of a scratch mark there I'm going to have to clean up. Which that is then done. Just run the blade along there a little bit. And I've got a couple of little sections down here, which we shall clean up quite comfortably. There we go. And again, another. Got some sprue lines there, which make sure we clean off. Nick accidentally there in the arm by the pliers as we tried to snip him apart. Just clean some more of that off, and then again we've got a couple of these little knobs on the bottom which I've just got to take off to make sure we've cleaned up that. some files around here. Somebody might be able to file off a section to make it slightly easier. And then we're going to come through and take off these little bits here. And hopefully this will be able to get connected quite quickly. And we'll be able to call this video done. I'm not keen on really bombarding you with long videos now. I think I'm going to switch up what I have been doing lately, which is just kind of building up. Is that going there? It does. Alright, so where's that glue? Cool. So what we'll do, we just realised why it wasn't quite as tight as I would like. A little bit of so we glue here, all around this section here. Oops, way too much glue again. On the side there. Run the glue through the sections there, and again we will push this back in here. Lovely. Alright, there's one section down, and then obviously that's the front half, so we can glue all along here and those sections there over those, and more glue on the down along around the arc, up and over these edges. And we'll push the front half together with the back half. And there we have it. We have a Crisis Commander torso. And we'll call that the end of this video. But as per normal, guys, if you enjoy the content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment, as I always suggest. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace.